lift, praises up. Start your week with us. Get up. It's the morning lift. Speak your soul. It'll make you whole. He's in control. It's the morning lift. Get up. Stand up. Praises up. It's the morning lift.
Yes, I could never get too tired for that song.
I love that song.
Lifted has me so incredibly lifted. Good morning. This is Dr. Sean Kyle with the Morning Lift, and you are listening to me on intellectualradio.com. And they are streaming also onto YouTube this morning. And if you're watching me on Facebook, good morning. And I have a fabulous, fabulous guest today. Let me tell you a little bit about our show. If this is your first time checking in, The Morning Lift is a show that is part of my ministry, Faith Forward Ministries. And so the show speaks to getting you lifted every week, every Monday morning at 8 a.m. And we speak spiritual wellness, physical wellness, emotional wellness, and mental wellness. And each of my guests that come on are experts in their field. They share with you tips and advice on how to move your life forward in those areas of wellness. And we stream not only just here on Facebook and on intellectualradio.com, but we also stream to iHeart, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, and Roku. I want to spend a few moments just giving some thanks to our show sponsors. We are sponsored by a few amazing companies. We have Master Your Mind with Dr. Erica, and she is a healthy mind expert of mental wellness. Check her out on her website at www.healthyminds.expert. We are also sponsored by Therapy Tees, a full line of uplifting and engaging t-shirts for men and women. And you can purchase them online at www.therapytees.store. And last but not least, we are sponsored by Hemp Happier, an organic CBD-based product line using the richest medicinal product for the most health-conscious individuals around the world. You can shop their products at www.hemphappier.com. And without further ado, I have to tell you about my fabulous, fabulous guest today. Her name is Bambi Montgomery, and she is the owner of HIVE Luxury Fragrances. Today, we'll be discussing matters that continue a discussion about wellness, but more importantly, more particularly today on our holistic wellness journey, we'll be talking about our emotional wellness and how Bambi's products, HIVE Luxury Fragrances, provide a sensational emotional experience, sensational emotional experience. So let me give you a little bit about her bio. Bambi Montgomery is an atmosphere curator, a purveyor of sensory experiences. She provides an atmosphere that is enchanting. She's an enchanting alchemist with the uncommon ability to shift and elevate the mood, bringing forth an unforgettable, beguiling ambiance. Bambi has been part of the vanguard of those who possess the ability to curate and create distinctive luxury experiences. Over the past 2 decades, she has cultivated her natural talents through her salon and spas, Honey Child, Chicago, and Hive, Los Cabos, Mexico. Inspired by the power of fragrance to elevate, enhance, and create memorable experiences while impacting health, balance, and well-being, Bambi accredits her success to mastering the art of perfuming. Bambi is a French-trained perfumer, highly skilled in this seldom mastered technique. Bambi fully understands the deep interconnections between all aspects of the senses, allowing her to curate one-of-a-kind experiences that recall old memories and inspire new ones without the utterance of a single word. Bambi's work has been featured in numerous magazines, videos, ad campaigns, and television shows, including InStyle, Allure, Essence, Lucky, Cosmopolitan, O Magazine, Glamour, Chicago Magazine, Ebony, Time Out Chicago, Dining Out, Journey, Women's Health, Baja Traveler, Chicago Social, and The Oprah Show. My goodness, my goodness. Let's welcome Bambi Montgomery. I know my listeners are excited to hear from her during these times in our society. We have so much going on, Bambi, and people are detox from all the media scares and dealing with so much, maintaining their well-being during this pandemic. But today we're focusing on how they can move forward with their emotional wellness. And so without further ado, my sister, tell us more about how you got started on this journey and how do you create these sensational emotional experiences for your clients' wellness.
I'm logging out. That bio. I was like, is she talking about me?
I'm talking about you, girl.
Thank you. I mean, when you hear I've done all of those things, but when you hear them, it just reminds you, or for me, how far God has allowed me to come. So I'm always overwhelmed by that. So thank you for bringing it to my remembrance, all the things that I've done. So I'm just very grateful. In this time, in this season that we're living through, the work that I do is becoming more important to me than it has ever been, because I've never lived through a pandemic like this. And then on top of the health pandemic, you know, being a woman of color, I'm going through a second pandemic. So I have never lived through anything. Most of my colleagues, people that are my age. So I'm pulling on the wisdom of my family, my mother, people who have come before me who have survived some of these things, and using that wisdom and that knowledge to further my craft to help bring healing and wellness to people during this time, because it's needed. It's needed. It's really needed. So to back up a little bit, and I'll bring you to where I am now, where I got started, is I have a condition that I just recently started talking about because, you know, I am a woman of color. So I was raised in a household where my parents were very protective and, you know, don't share your dirty laundry. You don't want to be regulated. You don't want people to think that you're different. So there's certain things that, you know, I just did not talk about. And it will bring shame upon you to talk about things like that, any type of disorders that made you different from someone else. However, I have learned to work through some of those things. I have a little puppy, by the way. You see me moving in and out. Let me get him together.
It's okay. It's okay. We are, you know, like I said, we're part of this pandemic society. We are working with what we need to work with to interview you, Bambi.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is Honey, everybody.
That's so okay. Hi, Honey. Hi.
I got a little honey, okay? So I have a condition called synesthesia. And what that means is that my cognitive pathways cross, meaning if I eat something very delicious, I'll hear music. I know it's not playing. I know it's not audible to anyone else, but it's audible to me. If you ask me what time it is, of course I know how to tell time, but when I see numbers, I see flashes of color first. If I see the days of the week written, I see color first. So it takes my brain a little bit of time to process that. So it's a condition that I was born with. You cannot turn it off. It's involuntary and it's all the time consistent. But what that does in my field as a perfumer, it makes me, it's my superpower, right? All these years.
Yes, I like that.
I have this crazy condition and it was a hindrance because it causes your focus. And my parents thought I had autism. So that's how I got diagnosed. So I went to a doctor, had a brain scan, all those things. And that is how I was diagnosed. And of course, my parents are very protective. Study harder. You gotta, you know, pay attention and focus. And I did all those things, and that is how I was able to survive. But little things take my attention. Like if you look around my house, I have maybe a pop of color with a flower, but everything else is like earth tones because I can't have that kind of stimulation in my brain or I can't focus on certain things. So usually, you know, my house is like it is right now, it's very quiet or has music because if I'm curating or writing, I can't have multiple things happening because my brain will start to pick up on those things. So with that said, I've always had, part of my synesthesia is I can smell everything. even when I don't want to. So it is very hard for me to travel, like to get on an airplane. If somebody take off their shoes 6 rows back, I'm like, Lord have mercy, somebody in the 6th row and took off their shoes. So I smell everything. So before we were wearing masks, she was wearing masks, I was ready. So I'm very protective of that part of my life. So I travel a lot for my job, and I love to travel, but there comes with, I have to get ready. I got to get my mind ready, got to get my spirit ready, because I encounter things, right? So to go back, I've always had this keen sense of smell. So I have been curating perfume my entire life, and not in the way that I do now, but my mother would go to the grocery store. She'd ask me, what do you want from the grocery store? Instead of saying cereal or chips or things that normal kids would say, I always wanted magazines, because in the magazines, there's fragrances that you can try and test on your skin or read about. So I wanted to know of everything. My dog just took my pen. I'm gonna let him live for a quick minute. I started mixing those things together just on my skin or on the paper. And then I started asking my mom, can you buy me this fragrance? She's like, that's $300, that's $200. I'm like, I need it. I need to fix my stuff, because she got tired of me messing up her stuff and then my father's things. So I've always played with perfume. And so when I was in high school, we had this wonderful program that I'm not sure if a lot of high schools have now. I don't have children, that you can do a work study. You can actually take college courses or take a trade while you're in high school. And so I had ambitions on going to Paris, right, to go to perfume school. And I didn't come from a household that had tons of money. My parents were very hardworking. My father was an artist by trade, but as a job, he was a postal worker. And my mother was a nurse. And so we were okay, but we didn't have money to send me to Paris and study for 7 years, because school is 7 years in Paris. And so I thought, well, how am I going to do that? I'm going to have to work while I go to school, like most of us. And so I took a trade. I went to school to learn how to do hair, because again, with synesthesia, I can see colors different. I see shapes different. So it made me an exceptional hairdresser, but it wasn't my passion. I enjoyed it just fine. I made a lot of money doing it, but it didn't make my heart sing, right? I love talking to the people and helping people, but on a daily basis, I'm like, this is good. I'm making money, I'm helping people, but it's not me. It's not fulfilling me in a sense. So consequently, when I graduated from high school and I'm ready to go to Paris, my father became deathly ill. He was in a horrible accident. And I'm the only child. Thank you. He survived that. Father, he survived that. And I had to work to help my family keep a roof over our heads. And so I started working as a hairdresser, still in the back of my mind. As soon as we get out of this, I'm going to school. But then I became a really well-known hairdresser. And then, I'm young and influential, and you can influence me is what I'm saying. I wasn't influential at the time. And so my clients were like, oh my God, you're so good. You need to own your own salon. You need to do that. So that bug was dropped in my head, because I did want to be a business owner. And so I thought, okay, I can own a business here and still go to school. That can make money and they can send it to me. So I opened up a business, and then that business just took off. God know what he's doing, right? So that business did really well. And before you know it, I'm Honey Child. I have this wonderful business that's generating over $1 million a year. I'm able to employ some lovely people that needed the help, that helped me along the way. And then that dream of perfume became further and further, from going to school. But it was on me. When something is on you, it was on me. So it was bothering me. So I just said, okay, how can I use where I'm at now? I'm a person, I got to get this pen, because I thought he would live. But this is the pen. I'm going to show you this pen.
We are working with it.
Girl,
this
is
when
you
have
how
it is when we have to work from home during all these times. So you get what you need to get, because we are so pleased to have Bambi Montgomery on here talking about HIVE fragrances. She's streaming to us. I'm in the studio, but she's streaming to us from home. And we all know that
drop candles.
anything at all can happen. So it's okay, Bambi. You are fabulous, and we are waiting to hear all about your fragrances and how they just tantalize our senses. but we do know that things happen when you're at home. You know,
They do. They do. And they happen. My glass just broke on the floor with this crazy dog.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I see you have a beautiful view out your window of Chicago.
Thank you.
We have a
Thank
wonderful city. We can get our wellness just looking out of the window sometimes, especially when you live in an area that has a beautiful scenery like you have. Seeing
I
the
appreciate it so much.
sky and
Okay. I'm gonna
lakefront, just
try to
beautiful.
be still. I'm gonna
It's
try to be
okay.
with
Yes, we
little
are ready
puppy.
for you.
I'm so sorry. The whole demonstration done moved around.
That
Okay.
is okay. That is okay. You were telling us about Paris.
So with that said, I opened Honey Child,
Hmm.
and it just became very successful and fast, but it never left me to do perfume. So what I did was I started using that in my salon, right? So I started developing products. I was working with other scientists that I knew, that I had relationships with. So all of the services that we offered in Honey Child were created by us. And I used that power of fragrance in those treatments to really bring about a mood. That's what my title at my job means as an atmosphere curator, is that I believe that, you know, you can shift the atmosphere, right? Just as a Christian woman, I believe I have that power already in me, right? We've all walked in a room and it feels a little off, right? And instead of that rubbing off on me, I desire to rub off on other people. So if I walk into a room and it's feeling a little stiff or, you know, whatever, I, in my mind, think I don't want to feel that way. And I don't want anybody around me to feel that way. So I'm going to shift the atmosphere. And prior to perfume, you could do it with other things, just your attitude or just the way you greet people. But with the power of fragrance, I can do that for my business and other businesses to provoke a feeling even before people enter the room. So when they come in, they can feel lighter. When they come in, they could feel a certain type of way. Whatever the environment you're trying to create, you can do that with fragrance. And we've been doing it throughout history, unknowingly and knowingly, right? It started, you know, in the Bible. They list my job as a perfumer as salted, pure, and sacred, right? The Bible says that about what I do for a living. And we've been doing it forever. We use fragrance to marry people, to bury people. We do it to worship. When you walk into churches, you smell that. It's really important. God talks about fragrance a lot, and he even likens our praise and worship to being fragrant to him, right? So when I'm curating fragrances, those are the things that are going through my mind, not just, you know, fragrances for everything. There's sometimes I put on fragrance, I want to be sexy, I'm a woman, right? But there's also when I'm in my house and when I'm looking at what's happening in our world right now, I need peace, right? So I have a fragrance that evokes that feeling for me. Or, you know, if I'm feeling like I need hope, right? Because a lot of us need hope right now. People are losing their jobs, their homes, and just a lot of things that are unsure. So you need that, right? And so those are the type of fragrances that I find myself I've always created, but I'm creating them more in this time because people are needing them. So something very interesting that I haven't talked about live. You the first. You got scoop.
Yay! Yes, yes, yes.
Girlfriend check, right?
It's important to have friends in high places.
Yeah.
And
Hallelujah. You better come on.
you soaring so high. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank
My,
you.
so tell us all about it. We get the exclusive, right?
You
Here,
got
Morning Lift Show.
exclusive.
Let's do it.
I hope she's online watching because I'm giving you a shout out, girl, for
All
free.
right.
No, I'm just kidding. So I have a really good sense of humor. So I hope people can roll with my sense of humor.
We roll.
At least I think it's a good sense of humor. Let me say that. So I have a therapist, and I know we don't talk about that a lot in our communities because, like I said earlier, we're raised to keep things close to your chest, right? All for self-preservation. But what I have learned in my own life, that the things that I thought were shameful, that I didn't want to talk about, that I've done, things that I made mistakes, places where I missed the mark, those are the things you should tell, right? Get over that hurdle of being shameful. Because when you are truly living out loud and you are truly living, you know, your purpose, right? And I have multiple purposes, but the main purpose that I was born to do was to bring as many people with me to heaven as possible. So I'm clear on what my mission is, right? But while I'm here, I'm gonna enjoy it, I'm gonna have a good time, all of those things, right? But in addition to that mission is to share your story, right? The word says that you overcome by the word of your testimony. So the things that you were able to overcome are for other people to hear. They're not necessarily for you all the time. You've gone through, right? So the important thing is to tell your story so that other people either can skip that lesson and learn from you, because you don't have to learn everything on your own, right? You can learn from other people. I see it all the time. Oh, she did that, that didn't work. I ain't doing that, right?
That's right. That's right.
So you tell those things. And so part of building fragrances and sharing your story, it's personal. I get to share stories with people to help them, and I get to tell stories. And so where Dr. Gail is concerned, she's a therapist. She just happened to be I was her hairdresser at the time. And it was the first time I'd ever had an episode with synesthesia. And I was cutting her hair at the time. And I stepped away to go to the restroom. And before I knew it, you know, a significant amount of time had passed. And I didn't know. And she's knocking on the door like, girl, my hair is, but I'm sitting out here like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'll be right out. And I was almost offended. Why the hell is she knocking on the door? I'm in the bathroom. But I didn't realize the amount of time that had passed because I had got caught up. Someone did some painting in my bathroom and those colors triggered me. And then there was music because we're in a salon. I hear all the conversations. So I just got stuck looking at this color for too long, right? And so when she came in and told me how much time had gone past, it was almost close to an hour. And I thought it was just like 10 or 15 minutes. So I was embarrassed by it. And I thought, okay, I have to fix this. I have to figure out how to help myself if this woman ain't here all the time. And so I see a therapist to help me work through that and how to gain focus and how to regain focus once I lose it sometimes so that I could be present and get my job done and be where I'm at, right?
And Bambi, don't have any shame about that. Many of us in our community sometimes feel like they cannot, share that with others. They cannot, expose that they, have some situations going on. And actually, we have a therapist on next week talking exactly about that, how to dispel that shame.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a therapist. I myself have seen a therapist, because I think it's important to have someone who's professional to hear your own conversations that you have with yourself and to just help you to navigate some things that you need to straighten out. And, it's a good thing. I always feel enlightened. I feel better when I walk away. I understand more about, myself. And so those are good things. I want to encourage you to continue that. So don't have any shame about that. You tell your story. You keep seeing professionals you need to continue that mental wellness. We're all about wellness on this show. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But from that relationship and seeing her, God in all his wonder opened a door for me to work with her. So as I was seeing her getting healed and learning how to do certain things differently, handle situations with focus differently, I told her, I'm like, I'm using fragrance to help me through this. I'm wondering if there's something I can do for the rest of your patients. So when I'm with you, when you're with your doctor, things sound great, but when she's gone, what you gonna do, right? If something happens and I can't get to her, what am I gonna do? And I didn't like feeling that way. And so I talked to her and I said, listen, I would like to develop some therapeutic fragrances for you using essential oils, and I'm going to pray over these things because we don't believe the same thing in faith, but that's okay. God can use anything in any platform. So I don't know how he's going to open up the door for her, but we are working together. And I've met with some of her clients, some of her high-powered women who, just for a good example, you have a baby, and when you come back to work, sometimes your confidence is different because you can't work the same hours, or people don't respect you the same because you're not there like you used to be because now you have another obligation. So I had this Fortune 500 client who was, I call her client, she calls her patients. was having a problem with her confidence. You know, she gained a little weight, she can't work the same hours, she felt just disconnected. But she was the woman, you know, hearing her heels clack through the hallway. And she's like, I don't hear my heels clack no more. That's a problem, right? So with that, I met with her. I hear music. Do we have to break?
No, there's no break.
Heard something. So with that said, she and I started working on some things and what I thought her guests would need. And we developed some therapeutic fragrances for her and her guests because it worked for that client. And it was nothing like getting that phone call like, girl, I'm back and I'm running it and blah, blah, blah. So when it's just a therapeutic inhalant, looks like a candle, or it could come in a roll-on for your skin. And it's a wickless candle, and it comes in a little tube. You can go to her website and look at it. I don't know it offhand. I'll tell you offline and maybe you can post it later. And you could just smell it. Like if you're not ready to see her for a treatment, and if you're not ready to see us both so that I can develop something personally for you, you can buy things that she already has in stock, meaning you just pull it out your desk, you smell it, and it will center you. It'll remind you of things. It will provoke a feeling. And at that moment, you can heal. You can be healed in that moment, right? You don't have to wait to get home and deal with it or have your glass of wine, although I'm a believer in wine. It just gives you something right then and there that you could focus on.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I love that. You know, fragrances are things that I use at home too, to kind of set the mood around my house. Of course, I am not a perfumer, and I cannot wait for you to create my own personal. We're going to talk about that offline.
Yes, we are. I'm ready.
We are going to create a Sean scent. I don't know what we're going to call it that I can have.
We're going to call it your She Shed.
Yes, but that's a different one. We're going to definitely do one for
you want some Sean show.
I want a Sean scent. Hello, She Shed Society sisters. Hello, sisters.
I think you can't get to Paris. Guess what? You have a perfumer now.
That's right.
And
that's right.
I think everyone should have her own curated fragrance. Like when you walk into my house, it smells like me, and you're not going to smell that anywhere else. I think if you can do that for yourself, it's such a gift to have a perfume, because how that works is, and we did it a little bit, you and I just talking about it, you sit with me and I get in your business, right? And I ask you, how do you want this fragrance to make you feel? How do you want others to feel when they're around you? Because unfortunately, fragrance will introduce you before you introduce yourself. People can smell you. It's the first sense that we're born with, and it's the only sense that's connected to your lymphatic system, right? So if you're sleeping and your house is on fire, what is the first thing you do? You smell it, because if you felt it, you'll be dead already, right? So your sense of smell is crazy important, and people pick up on certain things. So there's certain smells that women are attracted to, that men are attracted to, that power is attracted to, that money is attracted to. So there's just different ways. And it's not a spell, because I'm saved. So because people ask me to make love potions all the time. And I'm like, let me make it plain for you. She don't do no spells. But what I can do is pray and call on the power of God to fall on you. And the fragrance will remind you of all those promises and all of the things that you're trying to achieve.
I just love this. I just love this whole conversation. I'm getting all kind of chills around me.
Yes.
I smell what Sean smells like. I get all these things in my mind of what I believe is about me. And I know you're going to create a fabulous fragrance. I have all kind of thoughts about, what the She Shed Society is all about, and what we, our sanctuary spaces should smell like. I can't wait to get in a lab with you. We've had conversations about it, but I cannot wait to just actually put some smells to it, because fragrance, I truly believe it. You've already put it out there, but I truly believe that what you smell like is directly related to how you will feel the rest of the day, right?
Absolutely.
It's part of your emotional wellness, but then it builds on your physical wellness, your wellness, your mental wellness. If you have a space that smells like lavender, for example, people know, right, that lavender is a calming smell or what have you. But if you just go deeper into the notes of it, it's not just calming, it's so sweet. It brings up different notes and different colors in your mind. It's interesting to say that you were born with what you're calling perhaps a disability, but that is like Absolutely not to me. That's like an incredible superpower ability. That's like amazing talent that God gave you to use
Thank
to fulfill your purpose here. So
you.
those
Thank
fragrances, you see colors, you see more than just what we can smell. And that's why
you.
I think it's, if you know, if nothing else, people need to take away from here. Y'all need to get a hold of Bambi Montgomery, Hive luxury fragrances, and
Change your life.
experiences to change your life, will move your life forward. I'm so excited. I can't even,
Thank
just can't
you.
wait to get with you on a personal level. But for right now, I really want to know, you talked about how you walk your clients through just a series of questions to get to know them. Okay,
Mhm,
so you get to know them, then what comes next? And I know you're going to show us a little bit of your,
mhm,
or talk to us a little bit about your product. So
mhm.
what comes next? You get a sense of their personality, and then what happens?
So we talk about how you want it to make you feel and what you're doing it for, because people have various reasons. Sometimes it is for healing, and sometimes people don't need that type of healing. They're doing it, they want to feel sexy, they want to sleep better, they want to gain focus when they're at work. They want to be more playful. I have women who are very serious, who like, you know what, I want to be more playful. I had a client in Atlanta, I love her, little short, beautiful, little blue-eyed lady with blonde hair. And it almost came out of my mouth as soon as she came in, because she's like 4 feet tall, right? Clearly a grown woman, but she a little thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's just so cute. And that was the one thing I'm glad God didn't allow it to come out of my mouth, because when she sat down with me, she's like, I'm sick of people calling me cute. She's like, I'm a grown woman, I'm sexy, I'm smart. She runs one of the largest real estate agencies in Atlanta. And she's like, nobody takes me serious because I'm so little. I know what I look like. So that was bothering her. So I'm like, and as she started talking, I started to see how she saw herself. And that's a big gift. That's the gift I try to give everybody I encounter. It's not to see you how I see you, right? Because I don't really know you. I'll never know you as much as you know yourself, right? So my gift to every human I try to encounter is to see you how you desire to be seen. Because sometimes I just walked in on a chapter. It's just a chapter. It's not your book, right? So I
I
don't know
love
what
that.
for. I don't know what's going to happen to you after. I can prophesy and speak some things as I know my power, but I don't know who you are, right? And so I have to lean on you telling me those things. And I try to really captivate how you want to be seen, because that's really the essence of who you are. Sometimes, I mean, I've known people to go to the grave not realizing that who they wanted to be. They got buried with a dream, or they got buried with something. And I don't want anybody to be buried like that. You know, you only have this kind of window down here, right? And I want it to be the best experience. It's not dress rehearsal. We're gonna get to come back, right? Thank God. If you do it right, you don't need to do it again. That's how I feel. I'm doing it right, so I ain't got to do it again. So I try to give people that type of vibe when I'm curating. So once I get that down, I let you smell some things. And I don't talk about notes with lay people. I know a lot of perfumers do, and no shade, but you don't smell what I smell, and you never will smell. I'm trained to smell thousands of scents. 7,000 at my disposal right now, I could smell just on name, right? So you're not going to have that. So when you tell me, oh, Bambi, I want to smell like a rose, I think, well, where did that rose grow and how is that fertilizer? Do you want the petal? Do you want it to smell wet? Do you want to smell the greenery part? I think there's too many levels to a flower, and there's too many types of roses. So I don't talk about notes with people, right? Or people say, I want to smell like vanilla. So when I smell vanilla, I smell real vanilla. I don't smell candy. I don't smell certain things. I smell different vanilla that's grown in different regions. And so I talk about only feelings. I get a gauge. If you say, oh, I like vanilla, I like flowers, or I like citrus, that gives me an idea, but I can't really dive into it. So I'm all about the emotional feelings, how you want to feel, or the story you want to tell. When I work with brands, like the She Shed is going to be your brand. It's a brand. So I talk about what that brand means to you. I tell your brand story through fragrance, right? You want women to feel empowered. You want a sanctuary type of feel. You want them to be relaxed, however they want to use that shed to pray, to cultivate new ideas, or to entertain their girlfriends. I need to provoke those feelings, not necessarily rose might not give you that, although you like it. It might not give you that feeling. So I really only with lay people talk about, and as a perfumer, we don't use all those pretty names, right? I got numbers and we talk about numbers and letters. So it doesn't make much sense to me to talk in that way. So what's most important and how I can work best with a guest or a client, I call them guests, a client, is to really get to the emotional part of it. And then once I do that, you get some samples. I smell some things with you, kind of see how you feel, look at your body reaction. And then I go to a lab and I create, right? You get 3 different fragrances and you say, oh, Bambi, I love this one, or I like this about this one, or I wish this one had more of this. And then I'm able to give you a final product. And once you like it, I can translate that product depending on your budget, however you want. It can be candles that you're going to give to everybody in your life for Christmas. It can be a room diffuser. It could be perfume. I mean, I could fragrance anything. I fragrance paper. I fragrance parties. I just did something really beautiful for a bride. I called her husband. I know her. So I called her husband. It's like, hey, did she pick her flower arrangement? He's like, yeah. I said, go to the florist and tell them to send me just a really small bouquet of all the flowers that are going to be in there. And so I got a bouquet of her flowers, and I did a very old hair, just perfumers don't do it anymore. It's called, you take the petals and you just run them through something by hand and you expel the essential oils out of a flower. So she will have what her bouquet smells like for the rest of her life, right? If
Oh
she wants
my goodness, I love that.
Yeah, so as her gift for her wedding night, I took the fragrance that I made that was inspired by her bouquet, and I made it into a linen mist. So her husband can lay in that bed and smell her bouquet that she had for her wedding, and she can have that forever. She can pass that to her daughter. So those are the things that matter to me. Those little, it seems very opulent to do that, or sophisticated to do something like that, but it's a memory that you'll have it's worth it. It's a memory that you have forever and something that you can pass down. And once I create a formula for anyone, it's your formula forever. I never resell it. I never give it to anyone else. So you could have this and translate your own personal fragrance forever. So that's the process.
I love that so much. It makes me think of, you mentioned memories, how these fragrances from that bouquet, from that wedding, will bring up memories. They will have that 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And, you could just spray that in the air. You're having little issues in the home, on the home.
Yes.
Y'all not quite getting along well. You just start
spray them down.
It brings back those good memories and brings back those good feelings. I just love it.
Let me tell you what I did when I was dating. I am dating, but when I had one person I was dating, he was getting on my nerves. So I'm like, okay, before he leaves, I'm going to spray his jacket, right? Because he was wrong. So I put some perfume on his jacket, and he called me and goes, I can't stop thinking about you. I'm thinking about you all day. And I said, I know. And he was like, I smell like you. I know. He's like, I thought about what happened. I'm sorry. So I want you to think about me. So the same thing with that fragrance. If you're spraying in your bed, you're waking up. That's on your body. You're smelling, you're thinking about your husband, that beautiful day that you shared, all those promises you've made, they'll come right back, because everything you smell, I don't give a doggone if it's a French fry, if it's a donut, every memory you have is tied to a fragrance, every last one of them. You can walk in someone's house and think, oh my God, what does that smell? It reminds me of my grandmother. Or this reminds me of so-and-so. It's all tied. I haven't seen my grandmother. Unfortunately, she passed away a really long time ago, but I remember exactly what she smells like. So if I encounter that note, I remember all those wonderful things about her. So that is the power of fragrance, to recall things and to create new memories, right? So it's just a really powerful and wonderful tool that is often overlooked, or people are using it and don't really know why they like this particular fragrance. And if you dive in a bit, it's because it probably reminds you of something wonderful. On the contrast, you smell something that reminds you of something that wasn't so pleasant in your life. You think, oh, I hate that. I don't like that fragrance, because it reminds you of something that hurt you or something that was painful. So it's very important that we tune in when you're picking a fragrance or curating something special for yourself.
That is so wonderful. Now show us a little bit about what you have. If I were a guest, if you will, if I were a guest and I said, Bambi, I really want to do this with you, but I can't do it right now, but I want to buy something from your products that you already have made.
Mm-hmm.
Share with us what those might be.
Let me grab something that didn't drop on the floor, child. Hold on.
Okay, no problem.
I'm holding my dog in my lap that whole time. Now I have glass all over the floor.
No.
Okay, so come back, puppy, because I don't want you to walk on the glass. So this is a HIVE candle. I'm gonna open this now, so I get to burn it my own self because I wasn't going to. So this is what a HIVE candle looks like. And so every detail of this candle, because this is an $85 candle, right? And I know that is out of the ballpark for a lot of people, right? So I'm under no disillusion that this isn't an expensive product. But the reason that it's expensive is because of the money that I put into it, right? So retail, usually you can mark up more than once. I can't do that with this candle because nobody will buy it, right? So this candle, the box is even important, right? I was reading a poetry book called Milk and Honey when I was curating that, and I had never felt a book like that before. It felt like, it wasn't velvet, because you can see this isn't velvet, but it was so soft. I thought, I want my boxes to feel like that. So I had to buy another one of those poetry books, mail it to Italy, because that's where these boxes were made, right? So that cost me a lot of money to do that, to mail a book that I did not get back, by the way. This is important because it feels a certain way. So once this is open, let me open this for you. There's a card that comes with it. Don't eat that, puppy, please, Lord, help me. There's a card that comes with this. So this side tells you, this candle is called support. So it tells you everything about, because every candle in this first line, this is called the Treasured Collection. So every fragrance in this line is inspired by someone in my life. And this one is inspired by my girlfriend, Quinn. And she's my biggest cheerleader. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. She's always like, oh, girl, you can do it. You can get that. She's just always encouraging me. And so this tells a story about her a little bit and how she's encouraged me. It talks about the notes, how it should make you feel. The back of the card is left blank. So if you're giving this as a gift to your girlfriend, you could say, this is how you make me feel, okay? Then when you open the candle, this box is meant to keep, right? This is magnet, right? So it's going to keep open, but it's going to keep the debris out of your candle vessel. Then when you open your candle, remember I just dropped this, y'all, so forgive me if this glass is broke. Okay, it's not broken. So the candle is colored to fit into almost any house. The logo HIVE is on there, and then it's poured with love. It says, I'm learning how to use this Zoom thing, y'all, be careful. Poured with love is on here. It's upside down, by Bambi, okay? Then of course you got a warning label, all that. But the candles themselves, I picked this glass, it's also from Italy. It's thicker at the bottom, so it's not gonna burn your surfaces, right? I also picked a wooden bamboo wick. And so what that's going to do, it causes, I like records. I listen to music all the time. I rarely watch TV. I love old school. I still have a record player at my house. So I love that crackle. I'm old school that way. I got a young spirit, but I'm old school that way. So this is gonna make a crackling, beautiful sound, almost like a fireplace. I love that. And
I love that too. And what does it smell like? You got the crackle going, and then
support. So this has a lot of red currant. It's sparkly, it's vibrant. When I smell this, it reminds me of my girlfriend, but it gives me energy, right? Because that's what she gives to me. It's motivating to me. So whenever I need a pickup, this is the one I'm grabbing, right? Because I'm getting up, I'm getting dressed, I'm looking good. This is the one. I love this candle. But another
that one in particular is called support.
It's called support. So another really good thing about this candle, and this is free, right? I have a friend named Michael Drayton. He's an accomplished pianist, and he's I think really well of him. He's a businessman also, but he also is a worship leader at St. Sabina Church, has been there for years. And we were making something for him. And all of a sudden, I told you my synesthesia, so I'm curating, he was with me. I hum sometimes, or I'll tap, because those sensations are tied, right? He started recording, and asking me questions. And he actually curated a piece of music for each of these fragrances. So there's 6 pieces of music that you can hear me explaining a little bit or humming, which is embarrassing. I think I can sing, but you know, when you think you can sing, other people think you can sing, it's 2 different things.
I totally understand. I totally understand.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna run up on that stage and I'm telling Bill Winston right now, if you're looking, I'm running up on that stage one day and give me a microphone. It's my dream to lead worship. But anyways, there's a piece of music for each of these fragrances. It's on I think it's iCloud or SoundCloud, I forget what they're called. But it's really beautiful how he took that, and it gives you a full sensory experience. And I've hosted events with Michael whereby people get to eat something. I worked with a chef at Soho House, and they created a beautiful menu of food created for each of the 6 of my fragrances. So as you smell this fragrance, you got to eat something that should remind you of that. Michael was playing something, and we had a visual artist creating something. So all of your senses you experience what I experienced having synesthesia, right? Because all of my senses are engaged pretty much all the time. It takes a lot of control to sit here and really focus in and talk. Thank Dr. Gail for that.
I just love it. I just love that entire experience. I'm thanking Dr. Gail and everyone. I'm thanking your parents for bringing Bambi into the world. I'm thanking you for actually using that talent. Don't you ever call that a disability. Use that superpower to continue to bless us, to continue to provide wonderful fragrances, wonderful experiences with the food and the music, and touching everything that we do with our emotions. Emotional wellness is so important. And so what you do is so important.
Thank you.
I hate to cut our conversation off. You know, you're my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call you after this show.
I know.
Conversation, but you know, our listeners, I just hate we have to cut the conversation short, because I know you have so much to tell them. And so Bambi, just tell them quickly how the audience can find you. How do they contact you? How do they learn more about you and the HIVE luxury fragrance brand?
So you can go to my website. It's HIVE, HIVE, luxuryfragrances.com. I love Instagram. So I have a personal Instagram. It's at Everything Bambi. HIVE has an Instagram. It's HIVE it's HIVE Fragrances. We're on Facebook, HIVE Fragrances. I believe we're on Twitter. I have help guys with all that stuff. So the only
What's your website? What's your website?
My website is HIVEluxuryfragrances.com.
That is perfect. Y'all heard that. HIVEluxuryfragrances.com. If you want to get a hold of you, if they want to contact you via email, what's the email?
Bambi@everythingbambi.com.
Bambi@everythingbambi. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, Bambi. We're going to have you on again.
I would love it.
Would love to have you on. And of course, you can find me, Dr. Sean Kyle, on Instagram at I am Sean Kyle. And here on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you know where to find me, right here at Dr. Sean. But you can definitely find out more about the show, the Morning Lift Show, the calendar of guests. I have the show calendar up and available to you through the end of November and part of December. And I'll be putting up the rest of the show calendar later this week. But we have a fabulous list of guests all the way through the end of the year. And you would go to www.themorningliftshow.com. It has all the contact information, all the juicy background information. Sometimes people want to know all about Dr. Sean Kyle, the whole story, the whole journey to how I got to be where I am. The good, the bad, and the ugly is all there. So you can find out all those. And again, thank you, Bambi, for coming on the show and telling the audience how to get to their emotional wellness, how to use sensational emotions, sensational fragrances to appeal to our emotions. Next week, we have on September 28th, we have one of our show sponsors, therapist, Dr. Erica Montgomery. She'll be on. She's her business, Master Your Mind, will be here, and she'll be helping us with transforming our mind, how to get our mind to change away from the I can't mindset. And so I want to give another shout out to my Faith Forward Ministry, my followers there, and of course, my Sisterhood Society of the She Shed. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Show. And I want to encourage you to shop the shed. We have some incredible gifts and merchandise there to help you get to your sanctuary peace, wherever that is. If it's an actual shed, if it's a bathroom, if it's a closet, if it's a bedroom, it's wherever you go, ladies, to get your peace, to find your wellness. And I encourage everyone to meet us back here next Monday, every Monday at 8 a.m. on the Morning Lift Show, where you can listen to us on Intellectual Radio. You can hear us on iHeart. You, of course, can watch us right here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. It has been a pleasure to have you, Bambi. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, listeners. And we'll see you next week on the Morning Lift. Now go get your week lifted. Go have a great week. Move forward in faith, and we'll see you. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Please visit our website.
Okay, say bye.
You will find upcoming events as well as options for donating to our 501c3 organization. Be inspired, be uplifted, and be blessed.
Hey.